the video.
To solve a problem. How to the remotest areas, the most vulnerable and marginalized children, to girls and young women in unequal societies. We believe we have the answer. Come with us and see. EducAid is a learning circle. At the heart of our community are our role model schools. It is in our own schools that we do our initial learning. It is there that we have learnt about the vital importance of whole school positive behaviour management, equality, irrespective of gender and background. It is there that we have learnt of the vital importance of literacy and numeracy as the foundation for other learning. It is there that we have learnt to teach for independence. It is there that we have learnt that we can set ambitious standards. This learning informs our work with our partner schools. And as we understand what is effective in our partner schools, this in turn informs our work in our own schools. The circle of learning continues. EducAid is now working in 60 partner schools, bringing our thinking, our ways of working, respect-focused learning to the most remote corners of Sierra Leone by bike, through rivers, across rivers, and by radio, whatever it takes to get there.
Hello, my name is Vikas Pota. The reason why we're organizing this Global World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes in the state of the world. We want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusion, should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this coming week. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we couldn't have put together this group. Thank you, and I wish you all for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic, and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills, such as creativity and problem-solving, has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn, and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers, and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research, and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. What we do. this learning into homes and schools. Using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress. Or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And the student population in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emerging bilingual students, recognizing and knowledge, culture, language they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, we talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I'm truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I'm particularly looking forward to the global showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will give a huge motivation for other schools around. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The EducAid Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
Hello everyone, welcome to T4 World Education Week here in Sierra Leone. Thank you for agreeing to participate in our event for World Education Week. We are so excited. The purpose of the event is to showcase our school and to explain to those who are participating mainly from other schools around the world how they can replicate our expertise. My name is Nini Unachidu and I'm the Finance and Operations Manager here at EducAid, and I will be your moderator for this. And before we begin, let's have some housekeeping. If you're tweeting this event, please use the hashtag WorldEduWeek with the World W for World, E for Edu, and W for Week in uppercase, and tag at EducAid SL, which is the E for Edu and the A for Aid and SL in uppercase. Please spread the message further by engaging links to our social media platforms in the Q&A window on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Select the third icon from the right hand, which is the double chat with the question mark. You can also use this section to engage with us and ask questions, which we will answer at the end of our discussion. To ensure we have no technical glitches. Yes, we have during our session. But if that occurs, we might have to share our laptops with each other. I hope you will bear with us as we make this. I joined EducAid. Let me say, and it was the very first time that I heard about the organization. I could not believe that such amazing work was being done in my 25 years, and I knew nothing about it. I told the country
that this story needs to be shouted about from mountaintops. Well, today we have been given an opportunity to tell our story to the global audience, thanks to the organizers of T4 World Education Week, who share my sentiments. Our session title today is Deepening Family and Community Engagement in School Governance and in a resource-constrained context, using Sierra Leone as a case study. Now, education has evolved, EducAid, has evolved a checklist of roles and responsibilities for parental bodies. These are our school management committees, which we call SMCs, and community teachers associations. These are equivalent to the PTA in the UK, that re-enfranchises even the less literate members of our community. The checklist, plus workshops that we run in collaboration with the school leadership, that re-engages everybody in a common understanding of what the minimum standards are for a good school. However basic these might be, and supporting the community groups to take up their role in upholding these standards. This is used in our own school and has been used as part of EducAid's outreach program for school improvement across well over 150 schools. It provides a good source of local governance in a context where the Ministry of Education has limited resources and staff to reach regularly and provide formal support to the raising of standards. I would like to take a few moments now to introduce my fantastic panel of speakers today, who will be telling us the EducAid story from their own first-hand experiences. I have with me here on my right, JP, who is Joseph Pisano, popularly called JP, who is the headmaster at one of our schools here at the model primary school. JP, can you say hello and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Junior Pisano, and I'm the head teacher for EducAid Primary School Maronka. And I joined EducAid in the year 2012 when I was so much disheartened due to the fact that my parents cannot afford to pay my schooling. So I joined EducAid 2012 and I did my final examination, and I was fortunate to be enrolled as a junior staff in the system, and later I was appointed as a senior staff. And I was moved to the primary school to serve in the capacity of a deputy site coordinator, and of recent, I was chosen as the head teacher for the school.
Thank you very much, JP, for that. And today we also have a role model pupil and also a staff of EducAid Sierra Leone and part of the EducAid family, Hassanatu Sharif. Hassanatu, say hi.
Hi everyone, my name is Hassanatu Sharif. I joined EducAid in 2007 when I had no hope of going to school. EducAid took me in and sponsored my education. I'm now working as a mentor in 5 different primary schools in different communities.
Thank you very much, Hassanatu. I would now like to introduce our head of QAP himself, Mr. Joseph Kai. Hi, Joseph, can you say hello?
Hi, everybody out there. I'm Joseph M. Kai. My journey with EducAid started in 2005 when I took my basic examination certificate exams in a government school. However, my story is the same as every educating story because my family were not having the money to further my education. So I took the streets, selling markets so that I can raise money to pay my own fees. One lucky day I went out to sell this market with my colleagues. We are selling the same markets and they shouted, we all have to run so that we can get the man to buy for one of us. The man asked us, are you going to school? We said, no. You wanted to go to school? We said, yes. and he found us EducAid. I went to EducAid 2006. I sat my was there. I served as a junior staff in EducAid Magbeni. I then moved from a junior staff to a senior staff in the same EducAid. From there, I was a program support team in EducAid Magbeni. I then became the deputy site coordinator. 2015, I became the site coordinator. I moved from EducAid Magbeni to EducAid Maronka and worked as a member of the education team. 2016, I became the internal education officer for EducAid, and later, currently now I'm serving as the QEP coordinator for EducAid. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very, very much, Mr. Kai. We finally move on to the brains behind all this work that we're doing here in Sierra Leone, Dr. Mason Sise. Can you please say hi?
Hi, everybody. It's great to be with you today.
Okay, that was short. Okay, so EducAid Sierra Leone is a service provider of quality enhancement programs to the education sector across the country in Sierra Leone. Today, we are telling our story of what we are doing so well, which we are so excited to share with the rest of the global education community. I would like to go back to JP, who is the head teacher at our Maronka Primary School, which is our model primary school. JP, can you set the tone for us by giving us an overview of the education landscape within which EducAid operates here in Sierra Leone?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm highly delighted to welcome you all to EducAid Primary School Maronka. And I'd also like to give you a hint of Sierra Leone and the educational system. Sierra Leone is ranked as the 8th poorest country in the world, according to Human Development Index by United Nations Development Program. Having gone through 11 years of devastating war, which ended in 2012, 5 years ago, the country raged with war with Ebola. And this has caused a tremendous drop in the level of education and economic as a whole, and posed a threat on the global, and posed a threat in the nation as a whole. And also, Sierra Leone adopted the colonial system of education, which provides no space for teachers, students interaction, or overview of the education process by stakeholders beyond the school settings. So EducAid, as a charitable organization, runs 3 modern schools, 2 secondary schools, and 1 primary school. I head a primary school. Initially, before this time, the primary school was operating in a community that was having 3 houses and running with 6 children in the barrier of the chief. And also, EducAid has done a great work in improving lives of young Sierra Leoneans by providing high quality and holistic education, and also assisting the education department in making sure that they revamp and reconstruct the entire educational system that has once dropped during the days of Ebola and other crises. So this all happened due to the initiation of the QEP, which is a Quality Enhancement Program, but I won't dive much on that, as my colleague at my far right will say much on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, JP, for setting the tone for this our discussion today. JP, my colleague here spoke about the Quality Enhancement Program, which you are the coordinator of, and which is the brainchild of Madam Dr. Mason Sise, and for which we are the experts here in Sierra Leone. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. As a solution to all the problems highlighted by JP there, EducAid introduced what we call the Quality Enhancement Program. The Quality Enhancement Program is a program that is there to ensure that there is quality teaching and quality learning across the educational system in Sierra Leone. The Quality Enhancement Program is also a program that cascades EducAid learning system to our partner schools. Currently, we are operating with 60 partner schools across 60 communities. So the role of the Quality Enhancement Program is to ensure that the sort of education that we are giving out to these partner schools is an education that is backed up with the right skills, that is having the right attitude, that the teachers and the students are having the right attitude towards that sort of education. It's an education that is also backed up with the right value and the right knowledge. When we are talking about this Quality Enhancement Program, we are doing it in line with this Sustainable Development Goal, which is Goal 4, which is quality education. Our major focus is to ensure that there is respectful relationship across our learning communities. When we are talking of these learning communities, we are not just limiting it to the teachers, the students, and the school administrators. Even though they are our key stakeholders in the education sectors, but there are other sectors that are supporting these stakeholders. What are these sectors we are talking of? One is the educational stakeholders we have in the country. Who are these educational stakeholders we are talking of in the Sierra Leonean context? One, the Ministry of Education. Two, the Teaching Service Commission. Three, the Free Quality School Education. Four, the School Feeding Program. And five, other partners. When we are talking of these people, if there is no respectful relationship between the government and the school will not thrive, and the government will not achieve their goal in education. The schools that we are operating in are staying in a community, and in this community, there are community stakeholders. We call them local authorities. In the past, these people have not been functioning well in the school's operation. EducAid thought it fit that we need to bring them on board so that they know their roles and responsibilities in the school through the QP program. These people are called the School Management Committee. In other contexts, they call them Community Teachers Association. Other contexts thought it fit to call them the Parent Teachers Association. The QP extends its aim by introducing literacy and numeracy. The school system that we're operating in Sierra Leone, 75% of students that are attending schools in Sierra Leone are staying in the rural communities, while 25% are staying in the urban communities. However, opportunities provided for the 25% is not the same as those that are provided for the 75%. So to solve this problem, to curtail this problem, the EducAid solution, which is a quality enhancement program, decided to operate in the rural areas. Our other focus is to ensure that we have the positive behavior management strategy. Sierra Leone is a country wherein we believe in this biblical illusion, spare not the rod to spoil the child. So the teachers use this as an escape route to use cane in the school. The QP program, which is introduced by EducAid, thought it fit that there must be another solution. And the solution is what we call a positive behavior management. And what is that? We have what we call agreed expectations. Agreed expectations are introduced into these schools so that the teachers and the students can work on something they all agreed upon. So currently, all the 60 schools we're operating with, there is a minimal use of cane compared to how cane was used as the only way to discipline children. We are also focusing on building students that can question people in the future, that can think critically in the future, that can provide solution in the future. So we introduce a critical thinking as part of our package to the schools that we are operating with. The school, we all know, is a social institution. So what we decided to do is that we try to improve the pedagogical skill of the teachers, the subject content skill of the teachers, and the teacher contact time, because those are the three issues that are affecting teaching and learning in Sierra Leone. EducAid is our model school for the QP program, and EducAid has started that teaching for independence would be the base for a strong foundation of teaching and learning. Students in other schools do copy, teachers copy and students copy from the blackboard. The QP taught it fit that is just dependence. So we introduced teaching for independence in all the schools that we are operating with, wherein we do scaffolded learning, we do group work. As EducAid is an organization that is part of the global world, and the QP is a brainchild of the EducAid learning system, we have what we call the girl-friendly strategy. The girl-friendly strategy is to give support to the goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goal, which is equality. So in a nutshell, the quality enhancement program is there to ensure that there's quality teaching, quality learning, and a respectful relationship across all the schools that we're operating with. We choose respect because if there's respect in the class, the children will learn. If there is respect in the class, the teacher will cooperate with the students. And if there is respect in the community will collaborate with the school. And if there is respect in the country, then the education system that we are trying to improve will be improved, as education is the flagship of our government, quality education, and QP is the answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kai. I do apologize. I call you JP. I do that with my kids all the time. I call them the other person's name, so I do apologize. Mr. Kai, thank you so much. You do understand a lot about the QP. You are the coordinator, and I think that EducAid is doing a fantastic work with this QP. And I know that we cannot, today we are here to talk about focus in the community. What are we doing in the community to get them to buy into this QEP? I would like Ms. Hassanatu Sharif to elaborate on that for us, please. Thank you, Hassanatu.
Well, as you've heard from JP on the Sierra Leonean context and Kai on the QEP intervention, I will take you through the 5 steps that any school can use to replicate our practices in terms of community engagement. One of the steps is establish relationship across all levels of the school community, respectful relationship, I mean. In that regard, when we get to the community, we ensure to engage the community, which comprises of the chief, the parents, the teachers, and the heads of school. We engage them on their roles and responsibilities towards the school, the community, and their children's education. Before this time, they think the teachers are responsible for the school and that they, the parents or the community, have got nothing to do with the school. So like in the morning, they go to the farm and come back at night without even caring to check what is happening in the school. But with our intervention and engagement, they now ensure that they engage the heads of school on the proper usage of the subsidies. And they also ensure that they check in the school every day to see what is really happening in the school. The second step is establish minimum visible standards in school running, like punctuality of teachers, punctuality of pupils, conducive and clean learning environment. Before this time, the community member don't even bother to check whether the teachers are really going to school to teach their pupils or whether the children are really going to school. But with our intervention and the establishment of this respectful relationship, the community ensure that they check in the school always to see that the teachers are in school and on time. And in most of the communities that I work, the school management committee chairperson always go to school earlier than anybody else. They ensure that they are in the school to wait for the teacher that will come last or the people that will come last to school and to know why that is happening. So they now know their roles and responsibilities. The third one is agreed minimum standards with teachers and school leaders. So we sit together with the teachers and school leaders and agreed on minimum standards that we are expecting to see in the school, like proper maintenance of exercise books, protecting teaching contact time, and also effective learning environments. So when we sit to them and put those things together, we call the community again and engage them and tell them that this and this is what is expected to be happening in the school, and this is what you should be looking for. So whether you are educated or not, you should be able to look at your kids' book and tell if the teachers are really marking their books or if their exercise books are really in place or not. So we engage the community, and then they are also checking on that. In terms of the teaching contact time that the teachers are supposed to be protecting, we engage these community people. So they now know that a teacher that is supposed to be in school teaching during school hours is not supposed to be in the marketplace, or neither a pupil that is supposed to be in class while school is going on is not supposed to be seen in the field playing football. So in case those things happen, because now they know their roles and responsibilities towards the school, the community, and their children's learning, they ensure that they hold those teachers to account that are supposed to be in the school but are seen somewhere else during school hours. And the fourth one is design an icon-based checklist, or a tool that is appropriate to your own context. The most important point is that it is respectful, it engages parents, it is simple and easy to understand. You can have small icons that you can use as long as it's explained in a more respectful language, and it does not differentiate people in the community, especially the less educated ones. So in that regard, instead of we typing, let me say 5 or 10 pages that not everybody can read and understand, we decided to prepare an icon-based checklist that even the less literate person can see and understand what is expected to happen and what is not expected to be happening in the school. And the fifth one is running workshop with leaders, the school leaders and the teachers. In that light, whenever we have the workshop together with the SMC, we ensure that we clearly explain the icon checklist to them. We explain to them clearly what they should be checking for in the school, what is expected to be happening in the school, and what is not expected to be happening. The other thing that we do during this workshop is discuss scenarios that they have been seen happening in the community, but they did not bother to check, or they didn't know that this and this should not be happening, or this and this is endangering their kids' education. So we discuss those scenarios and explain to them that if this and this happen, this and this is what you are expected to do in order to ensure that the kids are safe, the school is safe, and everybody is safe in the community. And during those workshops as well, we discuss with them on how to prevent, to protect, and to report any issue regarding school gender-based violence. So we educate them in all those aspects so that they know in case issue of gender-based violence occur, where, when, and how to report. Thank you.
Wow, isn't it exciting? These are all the things that we do to ensure that management of our schools is trickled down to the last man in the community, and we take it down to them so that they are able, or everybody across the board is able to sing from the same hymn sheet. Well, talk is cheap, they say, and also we can all tell stories. Dr. Miriam, is this just stories, or really, does this work? What is the impact in the community?
The all-important question. So absolutely, that's what's been so exciting. In one way, when we started working in schools, we assumed with students and with school leaders. Yes, we would do what we could to make sure that we involved the ministry and the Teaching Service Commission and the sort of key educational authorities, but that's where our thinking was. As we spent time more in schools, we realized that there was this key component missing, and just spending time with the local community has seen enormous increases in impact. So we still, of course, work with the teachers, we work with the students, we work with the school leaders. We work with all of these people, but now a key part is working with the community. So what is the measurable impact? So we look at the moment, 7 things where we have seen things that we can measure. We can tell the stories and that fills in some of the understanding, but the things that we can count would be the number or the percentage of partner schools using the subsidies transparently and accountably. Now, what do we mean by subsidies? The government gives money to government schools to do the building maintenance, to pay the community teachers, those that are not on government payroll, to fund small day-to-day costs that make it possible to run the schools. Now, when we go into our schools, into our partner schools, we find that it is going to those with the access. So it might be 1 or 2 members of the SMC, but in general it will be the school leader and a few select individuals. 55 out of 60 schools in our recent project are now using their subsidies accountably. They've repaired benches and tables that have been sitting broken in corners for ages. They've repainted classrooms that were desperately in need of it. They've rehabilitated drinking water wells so that the kids have safe drinking water, rehabilitated latrines and toilets. They are using it to pay the community teachers. And you know, that's a transformation, therefore, of the resource available for education in each of those schools. The second one is the percentage of partner schools who are now taking significant actions with regards to child protection. It was not seen as something that they could intervene on. And now the schools and the communities are working together to either have a child protection task force, or they've got their ways with the chief, with the elders to take action. So girls that are being, you know, under threat of being forced to go to early marriage and forced marriage are being protected. The communities are going all out to make sure that those girls stay in school. Girls that get pregnant, there is action taken now, rather than what used to happen would be a sort of settlement with a few bags of rice for the guy, and then he'd been told to take the spoiled goods away, because once she's been pregnant, then she's spoiled goods, so take her off our hands. They're now being protected, the law is being followed. We are seeing girls being protected from FGM, female genital mutilation and early initiation into secret societies, and so on. So there are, out of 60 schools, again, 57 of them are actually really actively protecting the children. And I would say 60 out of 60, it's better than it was. We're still working with the other 3 to get it to where we want it to be. The third thing that we count is the percentage of partner schools with improved girls' retention and achievement. Getting girls into primary school, we're quite good at that in Sierra Leone. We've got better and better. Enabling girls to stay the course and then to transfer into secondary school is a whole different story. And so we work actively with the communities now on understanding the importance of girls' education and helping them believe that it's worthwhile. You know, girls' heads are capable of book learning. They're not just good for having babies and cooking. And there has been a real change in how people are stepping up to protect girls and keep them in school. Number 4 is the percentage of partner schools where the cane has been replaced with respectful alternative behaviour management techniques. Kai spoke a little bit about that before, but we would say we have 60 out of 60 schools where it's better, 58 out of 60 where the cane has been abolished. As far as we can understand from our conversations with the children, our conversations with the community, and what we are seeing on the ground. When we first go into schools and we talk to the community, when we tell them that we will be supporting the teachers to get rid of canes, we are regarded as irresponsible hippies that will wreak havoc and chaos in the community, because there will be no discipline, there will be no control. And we bring them to the Maronka school. We bring them here where we're sitting today, and we show them our kids. Now, our kids are lively, they're not angels and saints, but there's certainly no need for a cane. They address people quietly, politely, look them in the eye, speak to them well. They behave reasonably in class. There's not mayhem. And when visiting teachers see that, they gain the confidence to actually change their practice. And we've had teachers go back to their classrooms, break the cane and throw them out of the windows in a sort of ceremony of demonstration of commitment to a new way of working in front of the children. The 5th measure that we look at is the percentage of partner schools with improved student and staff attendance. Now, it's hard if you come from a Western context to understand that we would go into schools and find 40 to 50% attendance of both staff and students when we first start working in schools. Within the year, with those 60 schools, we've seen a change to 75 to 80% attendance. Now, that's not good enough, and we're not saying it is, but it's a whole lot better than 40 to 50%. And again, that's been a 60 out of 60 schools, 100% improvement, where we've seen those sort of changes, where the communities are starting to take a stance in ensuring the kids don't go to the market on a school day, that they are in school on day one. I hope you can hear the chickens, just to tell you we really, really are broadcasting from a little village in Sierra Leone. They are protecting the kids, making sure they're coming at the beginning of term. As Hassanatu was explaining, they now take the responsibility for cleaning the school compound before schools reopen, instead of spending the first week cleaning the compound. So if anybody's got any sense, they don't go for the first week because they won't be learning, they'll be cleaning. So we've got, that's the fifth one, improved student and staff attendance. The sixth measure that we look at is the percentage of partner schools with teachers and students using English in all lessons. Now, we acknowledge that there are political implications for using the former colonial master's language, but currently English is the language that is used for government, for education, for the running of this country. And a lack of ability to speak and understand English not only is damaging to your education, but it also means a minimal democratic engagement possibility. It means you're excluded from the conversations about how we allocate our resources, how we make decisions. So enabling teachers to have the if we let them, but we don't go in and find our partner schools at the beginning feeling confident to do that. Now we've had 100% improvement, and 54 out of 60 are now using English pretty much throughout every lesson, staff and students. It might be broken. These kids are working in their third language. I tell you, if I had their ability in English in my third language, I'd be pretty happy. But we've seen 100% improvement in that. We are also looking at, and I leave it to the last because for us it is, if you put it first, then it becomes the be all and end all. But the seventh measure we look at is the improvement in literacy and numeracy performance. And universal across all of our schools, we are seeing significant changes in literacy and numeracy competence. That matters as a foundation for all the other learning, but it's not the only thing. Kai was saying a little bit about how we balance the social needs with the cognitive needs. If we ignore one, we will damage the other. So we really do see it as one part, but not the whole part of what we're doing. So that is what we're looking at in terms of measures of impact. And now we're going to go to the next stage, which is to look at the questions and answers. So we have a short Q&A that will be run by Nini.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam. Amazing to say. This is pretty impressive, if I should say so myself. Go EducAid. So EducAid's intervention has had significant improvement in education outcomes across all the areas we've been looking at. And to summarize, in using subsidies transparently and accountably, with a child protection task force, with improved girls' retention and achievement, percentage of partner schools where the cane has been replaced with respectful alternative behavior management techniques, with improved student and staff attendance, with teachers and students using English in all their lessons, and with improved literacy and numeracy performance. Fantastic. So before we start the question and answer, just a little reminder again, that you can engage us by clicking on the double on the top right hand corner of your page. You would see a double conversation icon with a question mark on it. Click on it and you can engage with us. And you can also tweet our session and discuss and talk about it on Twitter using the hashtag World Edu Week and tag us at EducAidSL. Please spread the message further by engaging with us on all your social media outlets. Okay, now for the question and answers. Are you ready, panelists? I hope so. Now, we have a question from Vivian Onano, a youth ambassador to the UN and an education activist. We're not sure where she is at the moment. She might be in Kenya or in the United States. But hey, Vivian, we are delighted that you're here with us today. Dr. Miriam, Vivian is asking if this program, which has been specifically designed for the Sierra Leone landscape and context, has any relevance beyond Sierra Leone?
We would absolutely say yes. So the point really that we would want to emphasize is that it's about respect and being appropriate. So we designed our icon-based checklist because that's what our community needed. But what we've realized is that whatever the context, whatever the situation, if you don't bring in the community, you're missing out on, one, a key support to governance, but two, these are the clients, and it's been an unhelpful thing that's evolved where, in order to stay in control to a certain extent, schools have marginalized the communities and marginalized people. Now, in our context, we're talking about marginalizing them through using tools that require literacy, and the majority of adults in our communities are illiterate, but they are aspiring to have a literate next generation. So our tool does not require literacy because it's icons. It's just reminders of having had the conversation. These are the things that you can go and check on. But, you know, your context might be slightly different. It might be that you are working in a multi-cultural and therefore multilingual community. Well, the icon-based checklist might be similar, but it'll be different icons. You might not be talking about rehabilitating wells. You might be, but you will be talking about child protection. You will be talking about seeing. You know, I don't have to be literate to be able to see that my child's book hasn't seen a red pen ever, or hasn't seen a red pen in a long time. So it's adjusting to the context. But yes, respect-focused relationships that incorporate the community, absolutely vital wherever you are, we would argue.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Vivian for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Miriam. We have a second question here from Pat Horn, a senior supervisor of schools for many years and a former head teacher in the UK. He's asking this question. Is this way of working applicable to secondary schools, or is it only for primary schools? Kai, can you answer that question?
Yes, I think it is applicable for secondary school. The reason base is that, yes, I think Mr. Horn has an answer to your question. The issue is, like, the schools that we are talking of, the secondary schools, are part of a community. And if the community is out of it, it will be hard for it to be achieved. And these children that are getting these things in the primary schools, if they go to the secondary school and are not seeing what they've learned from the secondary school, I mean from the primary school, it will be hard for them. So being that the secondary school is part of a community and the community engagement is needed in the school, we think it will be applicable in any secondary school and even the university. Thank you very much.
Well, I concur and support that, because Kai, we use this also in our model secondary schools as well. So we know it does work, and we do work with other secondary schools implementing the same strategy. Thank you very much, Kai. I want to take this opportunity to do a summary of what we have been talking about today. A very popular African proverb says that it takes a village to raise a child, which means that an entire community of people must interact with children for those children to experience and grow in a safe and healthy environment. EducAid Sierra Leone's quality enhancement programs focusing on community intervention is a case in point and a success story. By giving the ownership of the children's education to the community and using the language and systems they understand, EducAid Sierra Leone has been able to transform the mindset of community stakeholders to take ownership of the learning process for their children, because they now understand their rights, their roles and responsibilities, what they should expect from their children and teachers within their school communities, the value of the girl child, the value of their interventions in ensuring their children get a quality education by playing an active role in their children's education. This is something that they have been disenfranchised about for a very long time, but finally it's now within their reach. How did we do that? By 5 key steps. These are establishing respectful relationships at all levels of the school community, by establishing minimum visible standards of school running, by agreeing that minimum standards with themselves, together with the school leaders, teachers, and also stakeholders, by designing an icon-based checklist that is relevant and easy for the community to take ownership of, and also by running workshops with school leaders and school management committees, which we call community members, which we call the SMCs. You'll be hearing a lot of SMC, so school management communities, that's what they mean. They're like the PTAs. So everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet or reading from the same book. Getting all stakeholders within the education space speaking the same language and singing from the same hymn sheet, as it were, whether they are parents, teachers, students, local village chiefs, or directors of education, raises the quality of education every child would receive within that community. And for 25 years, EducAid has been designing and implementing strategies, first through our model schools and then to the wider education community across Sierra Leone. We are still learning and growing, and we will continue to share our experiences with you. I hope you've been inspired by how our story of what we do to inspire and empower local community stakeholders to take ownership of their children's education is transforming learning communities across the country by giving them the power to play a significant role in their children's education. I think I've just been told that we have a couple more questions. Can I, can you pass them to me, please? Okay. Okay, Miriam, can you read out the questions and see if you can answer some of our questions, please? I think we have time for 2 questions.
So we have a question here from Chris Green. Chris Green is asking, have you had any experienced foreign teachers spend time in SL as part of EducAid to help deliver teacher training, or is this normally done by local teachers? So the answer is that we have many volunteers that come to EducAid, and we'd be very interested in hearing of anybody that wants to come. Please do get in touch. We have teachers, experienced teachers. We have youngsters who are in their gap year, and a variety of supporters to EducAid that have been in the past. So we welcome that. We also have a question from Colin Carmichael, who is asking how many pupils we are benefiting in the partner schools. Currently, our partner schools have more than 20,000 young people in them, and he says, how can we extend our reach across Sierra Leone into other schools? So the answer to that question is actually there is an education innovation challenge that this program has been part of, and so the 60 schools were allocated to us by the government under the Education Innovation Challenge, which is about testing school improvement interventions. Those people working in school effectiveness and school improvement know how hard school improvement, sustainable, genuine school improvement is. And if you're talking about a context that has been as under-resourced as Sierra Leone's has for so long, we're really talking about very challenging barriers to improvement. and to the cultural changes. And when I speak of cultural, I'm talking about the sort of personal culture of the teacher, the personal culture of the student. To change those behaviours is very challenging. So the Education Innovation Challenge was about testing different interventions. So we are working currently to see whether we will be part of the Sierra Leone Education Innovation Challenge, the SLEIC, which is the extension of the initial EIC that we've been part of. So we hope to be working with an additional 110 schools whenever the SLEIC actually launches. We're part of a competitive process to see whether that will happen. We have another question.
That'll be a quick one.
From Pete Houtenbos. He agrees with the engagement of parents, but how to motivate them? How do you trigger them is his question. So this is why I would say we almost felt like the checklist was almost like magic. We found in our own school, in the EducAid Maronka school, in all of our partner schools, that there's almost a universal magic that happens where parents were disengaged, couldn't really, just didn't see it as anything to do with them. Schools were teachers' business, and they had been sort of almost strategically disenfranchised before. But this engaged them. It was easy to understand. It's because not just because it pictures, but also because the sort of 10 or 12 things that we focus on are things that they can get their heads around and that they can see where they come in on. So we have pointed out that this school does not belong to, it might be a government school in the sense that the governments are funding it and the government are running it, but this is a community asset. And so our focus is on helping them understand that this will support their children in actually achieving the goal that they have. They don't send their children with any other goal to school, but to become educated. But it doesn't happen if the systems aren't in place. So when we all work together and we feel respected in that space, that's when we can actually see the changes, and we see the parents getting involved, wanting to know. We have proud parents who suddenly start talking about, well, we painted the school. This man and I, we paid for the tables to be repaired. So it's not only that they're making sure the subsidies are being well used, but they are also putting their own resources into making the schools better as well. So handing back to Minnie, who is going to round up for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Miriam. We can go on and on and on because our story is so fantastic and we just want to keep telling it over and over again. So I want to take this opportunity to just thank my panel of speakers. To JP, thank you. Hassanatu, thank you. Dr. Miriam, thank you. And Kai, thank you very much for being a part of this and telling your stories so well. And also to our one-man technical support team. Yes, Mr. Ibrahim Alaji Fortune, who has worked tirelessly to make this happen. Thank you so much. We call him Y4. Thank you. And a very big thank you to the organizers of World Education Week and to our local and international partners, our board of trustees, our CEO, Erin Note, and staff both in Sierra Leone and in the UK, who through their tireless efforts and belief in what we do, make it possible for us to continue to do this great work here in Sierra Leone. I thank you also to all our viewers and to everyone who joined online to listen to our story, for giving us this opportunity to showcase and share with the global education community the fantastic work of transforming the education outcomes here in our beautiful Sierra Leone. If you would like to learn more about our work, please visit our website at www.educaid.org.uk or email Miriam at educaid.org.uk. Our Twitter handle is at educaid SL, with the E, the A, and SL in uppercase. Same for our Facebook handle. And if you want to contact us, you can contact us using our number +232 30 709 1875. My name is Nini Onachiku, the Finance and Operations Manager here at EducAid. I have been so privileged, and thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you and goodbye.